When acting as if turns into pretending, it does more harm than good. And acting as if as a concept isn't about tricking the universe or trying to convince your subconscious mind, because there's nothing you need to convince, there's only a state of consciousness you need to surrender to. And once you get this, you will no longer feel the need to try and convince anything. What will happen is you'll naturally start to move towards the things you desire. Because when it comes to acting as if, people get confused between pretending and imagination. You know, little girls, they pretend to have tea parties, but when you actually want to drink tea, the very first thing that happens is you imagine having a cup of tea, and then you either go and make yourself some tea, or you go and buy yourself a tea. But it starts with an imaginal activity. It starts with seeing yourself as already having the tea, even if it's just for a small moment. The same goes for ordering pizza. If you want pizza, you either go out and buy it, or make it, or order it. You don't sit there pretending that you're eating a pizza. So if you find yourself trying to pretend to do something or acting like you already have something that you don't really have, and it feels weird, it's because you're imagining that you don't have it. And if you were imagining you had it, you would not pretend or act. If you imagined you already had what you desire, or when you imagine you already have what you desire, you are going to act and feel and think in totally different ways than if you are coming from a state of consciousness that doesn't have those things that are desired. So now you might be asking, well, what does it look like when you imagine something is already yours? Because, it can seem very closely related to imagining and pretending. So imagining something is already yours is simply surrendering to that state of consciousness. It feels like a sigh of relief. So, we'll go back to the tea example. If you want a cup of tea, you imagine how that first sip would feel, or, that relaxation that comes with sipping tea. Or when it comes to eating pizza, it feels good and you surrender to that. And then the actions that follow are naturally going to bring that tea or that pizza to you. If you desire a lot of money, you don't go out and test drive supercars pretending you have a ton of money or pretending you have supercar. And something manifesting a ton of money and manifesting a tea have in common is you would feel that relief. You would surrender to that feeling. You wouldn't have worries about bills or, worrying about going to a job you don't like. You would feel relief. So imagining pretty much any desire as already yours isn't acting or forcing or convincing anything. It's simply just a moment of surrender. And you'll know if you've surrendered into your desired state of consciousness based on the actions that follow. Like I mentioned before, maybe you'll make some tea, maybe you'll order a pizza, or maybe you'll start a business, or maybe you'll just feel at peace knowing that whatever it is you desire, it's on its way. If you go about your days more confident in yourself, more relaxed in general, maybe you'll find new desires pop up. So for example, maybe you want a better body. You don't pretend you have the body you want by going to a bodybuilding competition, but maybe you don't want to go to the gym either. But when you surrender to that desire, maybe you'll find that, you have an interest or a desire to start riding bikes or something like that. When you surrender to something, new desires will come up. And when you have the faith in your ability to create your reality, you will continue surrendering to those desires. And, that new state of consciousness is going to get you acting and moving and thinking differently. And new avenues will open up. And none of this will be forced. It will just be actions that you would naturally take. Maybe you want to be more healthy and you don't go to the gym and you never really tried to focus on your diet, but you're looking back 2 weeks from now and you realize that your eating habits have improved a lot and you never really tried to. You just surrendered to feeling comfortable in your body, and now the actions you take have naturally changed. So in short, acting as if is really the second step. It's not acting as if in the sense that you're pretending to try and make something out there happen. Acting as if is the second step that follows the imaginal activity. In other words, acting as if isn't something you do. Acting as if follows the state of consciousness that you occupy. Now, if you want to dive deeper, check out Mystic Manifestation on School. Subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.